because you'll play over things that are very complex, like the bridge on James that keeps modulating, right? So that's a thing that most jazz players can't play. I mean,
I've watched a lot of really good bebop players.
They cannot play.
Crash and burn on the bridge of James.
They can't play over the bridge of James.
So that's an A major scale and I'm playing an A open triad. I'm going to talk about the open triads in a minute, but first of all, I want to talk about something very basic that's going to be very helpful for playing the bridge of James. So basically, if you're playing an A major scale, the major scale consists of half steps and whole steps like any scale does. Like any scale has its formula, right? That is very specific to that scale. But the notes that are connected by a half step, there's often one of these notes that is not so stable. And the note that is not so stable and that wants to go somewhere else so much in the major scale is the G sharp. It wants to resolve to the A. And we can see that in this chord progression, E7, to A with an A major triad with an E in the bass, can really hear and see it so much, right? So sort of the cadence is already in the scale, right? The tension and the release, the tension on the 5 chord that we can build on the 5th degree of the A major scale, going to the A, our tonic. Let's play the same thing in D, just using this same thing here. And just let's record this A7 going to the D. And of course we can improvise using the D major scale, right? And now let's play some 5-1s that lead to a minor 1, right? Your 5 can lead to a major 1 or to a 5-1. So let's play an F sharp dominant 7th chord, going to a B minor chord. Let's record a C sharp 7 chord, going to an F sharp minor 7 chord. So if you're playing a 5-1 in major, you can play the major scale of the 1 chord, right? So E7 to A major 7, you're going to play the A major scale. But if you're playing like a 5-1 in minor, you can use the harmonic minor scale, because the harmonic minor scale has a 5 chord, that's a dominant 7th chord. And 5-1, that basically just means you play any note in the root, right? Like the E. And then you play a note, a 5 lower. You know, like your power chords in rock? That's actually like a 5, the interval of a 5, but you can, right? Think about it like this. 5-1. So what has any of this to do with the Bridge of James? Actually a lot, because all those 5-1s that I just showed you, they are occurring in this bridge. They're sort of well disguised in versions of the triads, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But first of all, let's get those 5-1s into the right order. So the bridge is in A. It starts with an A chord and it gets back to an A chord. You can use this voicing like an A open triad. Then we're going to play the 5-1 going to the B minor chord, F sharp 7, B minor, A7 to D major, C sharp 7 to F sharp minor, and E7 back to A. And after 4 bars, we're back to the A chord. And the bad news is those chords are really moving pretty fast, and also the tempo is high and they're anticipated by a 8 note, so they come a little bit earlier than they should be. But anyways, so I'm trying really to play 5-1s that make it very clear when I'm on the 5 chord, and then I'm going to resolve to the 1 chord. And one way I like to do that, I'm using arpeggios. I'm playing like a dominant 7 arpeggio on the 5 chord, right? And there are some little tricks that you can think about if you want to resolve your line to a 1 chord. So for example, let's say A7 going to D, right? So typically you can resolve this flat 7 to the major 3rd. That's really like a bebop thing. And also if you're going to minor, I love to play the flat 9. So the flat 9 on the F sharp 7 would be like the G, right? And resolve it to the F sharp of the B minor chord. So basically it's a very good place to practice some 5-1 licks. Just check out some 5-1 licks and just copy and paste them into this progression, and then start improvising after a while. You can start like this because it helps you hear it so much. So, but as a matter of fact, if you have that Pat Metheny book, right, and you have a look at, oh my goodness, that I can't show you, I'm sorry. You can see that they're playing a lot of inversions, right, and they're having sort of a bass line going on, like A, which is very cool. So that's probably the reason for the inversions, is to sort of, you know, make it not so obvious, because 5-1 can become very obvious to the ear after a while. And so we're back to sort of this lathe process, to take something that stays the same at its core, but then we disguise it a little bit just to have a little bit fun with the harmonies, right? I'm trying to reach 1,000, oh my goodness, I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. If you like this video, subscribe and like. There's also going to be a PDF in the description box and below. One way how we can do our own little art, the process, sorry, it's a coffee, is to play open triads in inversions. So if you're having an A major triad like this, right? I think everybody knows this one. And if you just look at the notes that you're playing on the fretboard, like E, A, C sharp, that's the 5, the 1, and the 3, and that's a close position voicing. If you're playing this voicing, A, E, C sharp, that's a stretch, but it sounds very good, right? And it's the same chords, so a voicing that's basically playing the same notes of a chord, but like in sort of another, like on other strings, in another order, in other octaves, yes, right? But the chord itself stays the same. So of course you can have inversions of your open triads. So let's go back to this chord. And let's do an inversion, right? So when we're doing an inversion, we're thinking about each note as a person that is singing in a choir. So we have a choir of 3 people, and the A is our root. The root is going to the third is going to the 5, and the 5 is going to the root. So this person is the root, it's going to the third is the C sharp, and he's looking for that note on the same string. And the E is going back to the root, and the C sharp, the third is going to the 5, right? And then we have the next inversion. And we can say that's an A major chord with a C sharp in the bass, right? That's an A major chord. And then the last inversion I'm just going to show you is like an A major triad with an E in the bass. So you can do the same thing with a minor triad, right? So for a minor triad, going just to play a C instead of the C sharp, a minor third, and then invert that chord. I love those voicings. Sound so cool. And of course you can also play those chords on the middle 4 strings. So let's just do it with the A here. So I would be thinking, I never practiced those voicings so much. A, E, C sharp, A, E, C sharp, okay. Or here, A. And if you have been watching this Pat Metheny video with Rick Beato, I think he's using a lot of those triads that sound so classical and that really remind me of Bach. And yes, so you can do a lot of stuff with it. And if we have a look at Pat Metheny's book, the first chord is an A, and the second chord is an F sharp 7 with A sharp in the bass. So going back to a 5-1, that's the F sharp with an A sharp in the bass. And so basically I started playing the progression now with an open triad, so I rather stay with it. So maybe I'm ignoring the 7 and then I'm playing like an F sharp triad with an A sharp in the bass. Right, then we go like this. Going to the B minor inversion, A with the C sharp in the bass, D. Can you hear how logical that sounds? It's beautiful. I'm going to shut up. Like this, you can really see how the voices move, and still at its core, it's those 5-1 progressions. But if you can sort of outline the movement of the voices like this in your lines, that's also going to sound very cool. But yes, still, it's still a little bit more tricky than that because he's not playing the chords like on the 1 and the 3 like I did in the beginning of the video, but it's mostly everything is anticipated, so you can think about it as a 2-bar rhythm, a rhythm that has 2 bars and then repeats itself. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 There's also going to be a PDF in the description box below with all the triads and the chords, and just have fun and be patient. It's really not so easy to play on this tune and I have to practice a little bit myself. Goodbye. I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already been subscribing, please do so below. And yes, that's it for today, and I see you next week. Bye. Manometer.